class. Welcome to History of Christianity here at the College of Mid-America and Mid-America Baptist Theological Seminary. It's great to have you in class. My name is Dr. Zachary Sandiford, and I will be your instructor for this course this semester. And I just wanted to welcome you to the class and introduce myself, and also to go through the syllabus. I remember when I was going for my bachelor's degree at the State University of New York, I had a history course called The History of Russia. And the professor on the very first day, he walked into class and he walked right up to the lectern and he started teaching the very first minute of class. He didn't give us a syllabus. He didn't give us anything. And so we were just kind of just lost and couldn't believe that we were like just being lectured on the very first day of class. Well, I'm not like that. I want to make sure that you guys are all set for the class. And so we're going to go through the syllabus so you know what's expected of you. And in this class, we have undergraduate students, which are bachelors, and we also have graduate students, which are masters. So in the syllabus, you'll see that we talk about bachelors and what's required, and also masters with what's required. It's the same syllabus, just two different degree programs. So we're going to go through the syllabus now, and I'll see you in a minute.
Okay, class, we'll now move through the syllabus here for History of Christianity. As you see on the top of the screen, CH6001 is the master's level, CH3001 is the bachelor's level, and you see the dates. Fall 2023 is August 16th, 2023 to December 6th, 2023. You see my contact information there on the left, Dr. Zachary Sandiford, 2095 Appling Road, Cordova, Tennessee. That's the school's address. And then you see my cell phone number, 901-220-6931. And then my email address, zsandiford@mabts.edu. The email is the primary way we're going to communicate. So make sure that you are checking your email, and when you need to contact me, send it through email. And then you can also text me if you need to at my cell number, 901-220-6931. Just make sure you have your name and the class that you're talking about, and then whatever you need to ask or talk to me about in the text. So those are the ways you can communicate with me here. And then you see on the right-hand side the residential hours. But since you're online, you need to log in a minimum 3 times per week. I know everyone's got busy schedules and work schedules differ and everything, so maybe you can only log in on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's fine. Or even if it's like Saturday, you want to log in for 2 hours in the morning, and then in the evening you log in for another hour. That's fine too. Just make sure you log in 3 times per week. Course description. History of Christianity is a 3-semester hour survey of the Christian faith and the background from the intertestamental period to the present. The course focuses on the background of early Christianity, the beginning methods by which Jesus and his disciples founded the faith, and the consequent spread of his followers throughout the world. The course will examine key historical figures and events as it tracks Christianity's progress from the time of Christ until today. So that's the course description. We have some course objectives here, and so basically by the time you finish the course, you should be able to have somewhat of a grasp on these 6 objectives. Instructor availability disclaimer and inclement weather. Availability, again, is mainly through email, if you can just email me what you need. Or again, you can text me if that's better. Disclaimer, the instructor reserves the right to change the syllabus or the class schedule if necessary. So that's mainly going to be the dates in the class schedule. Basically, if there's some sort of inclement weather here at the school and I can't get into the office for a week or something, we might have to postpone or consolidate or do something with the dates. So that's just a disclaimer. And then speaking of inclement weather, the school here in Tennessee goes by Shelby County Schools. So if they cancel because of snow or ice or something, then the school's closed. But for online students, that's not so much of an issue, but I just want to let you know that. All right, required textbooks. The students are required to obtain a copy of the following text and have it on hand. So all students, that's bachelors and masters, must have Robert Baker's A Summary of Christian History, and then also Edwin Gustod's The Religious History of America. That's bachelors and masters must have both of those books. The bachelors will read all of Baker, and you'll read selected readings from Gustod. Masters will read all of Baker and all of Gustod, and the master students, so it says plus, master students must have Henry Bettinson's Documents of the Christian Church. Okay, and you'll be reading the readings that are assigned out of that book. Well, that's just the master's students only. All right, so when you look at the schedule below for the reading schedule, make sure you pay attention. If you're a bachelor student or master student, make sure you're paying attention to what readings you need to do. Okay, so reading requirement. All students are to complete the readings. Bachelor students are required 500 pages, and then master students are required 1,000 pages. I did put a note in there. Please note the second half of the semester is heavy reading, so plan ahead and read ahead if you would like. And basically what that means is you're reading all of the religious history of America, the Gustad book, plus the Bettinson book, and it's just quite a bit of reading for the masters, especially the second half of the semester. So just be aware of that. Required research paper. The student will write a research paper on the improved topic from one of the periods of church history, early, patristic, medieval, Reformation, or modern. A thesis statement, paper outline, and tentative sources will be submitted on the dates below. Okay, so the bachelor students will write a 10-page paper, which is pages 1 through 10 of text, with a 10th page being complete. So don't just write like one sentence at the top of the 10th page. That's not a complete page. The 10th page must be complete text plus your bibliography. So the 10th page is not the bibliography. You need pages 1 through 10 are texts plus a bibliography. The master's student is 15-page paper. Again, the same thing, pages 1 through 15 are paper text. The 15th page is complete, then the bibliography. The student must also include a title page and a table of contents per MABTS Turabian guidelines. All right, that's the master's students. Research paper sources. Bachelor students must have a minimum of 10 sources. 5 of those sources must be print books. Electronic and web sources must be credible sources, so no Wikipedia, no blogs, no personal websites. They must be credible sources. So you may need to have 5 actual books, and then the other 5, if you want to use electronic sources, you may, but they need to be credible. The master students must have a minimum of 15 sources. 8 of those sources must be print books. The student must also have a minimum of 3 journal articles, and then you may also use electronic and web sources from credible sources too. So if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. But it's pretty easy. Just make sure you have the right kind of sources. Citation of the paper. The research paper sources must be cited according to the student's degree program. Ensure the paper is thoroughly cited. The student must show where the information came from as well as their interaction with the sources. Every direct quote should be cited, as well at minimum a citation at the end of every paragraph. Do not plagiarize. All right, so the citations are as follows. The bachelor students conform to MLA formatting. MLA Handbook 9th edition is a good book to have on hand because we use it here at the school. I have an MLA Handbook 9th edition copy here at my desk, and so when I'm grading papers, I can refer to that, but that's what we go by here at the school. And then master student, the citations conform to Turabian format. And that's the Turabian 9th edition, as well as the Mid-America Turabian Handbook that is put out by the graduate office. So that's the Turabian formatting, and make sure that you follow those guidelines. And again, I have the Turabian book here at my desk, so we refer to that quite a bit. So make sure you are citing the paper properly. And again, it's showing an interaction of sources, so don't just quote a direct quote. If you have 4 or 5 paragraphs with no direct quotes in that, you still need to say where that information came from. So at minimum, each paragraph needs to have a citation. All right, writing requirements for the paper. You'll write the paper using Times New Roman font and in size 12. The font needs to be the same throughout the paper. Ensure that the page numbers on your paper, make sure their font match. So when you insert page numbers, it's going to default, I believe it's to Calibri. Make sure you change that to Times New Roman. And also, if you find a quote online and you want to use that in your paper, so you copy and paste, make sure that the font is changed to match the paper. And then, of course, because it's a quote that you're copying and pasting, you need to cite that source. Do not insert pictures or maps. If for some reason you have to have a picture or a map, put it in the appendix. Okay, put an appendix page in there or something, because pictures and maps are very arbitrary. A person can just resize the picture just by dragging the corner of it and making it quite large, and next thing you know, the whole page is a picture. We don't need pictures and maps in the text. If you need to, you can put it in an appendix and put that as a citation, such as see Appendix A. But that should be minimum. The paper will be submitted in Word format, not PDF. You're going to email me your paper in Word format. All papers must be run through Grammarly and corrections made prior. If I think that it's been not run through Grammarly and it has received a low Grammarly score when I run it through Grammarly, the paper is returned to the student for resubmission and a late penalty will apply. Dates for the research paper: the topic approval date is September 12th. Thesis outline and source date is October 5th. And then the research paper itself is due November 17th at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is Tennessee time. So if you're on the East Coast, make sure you pay attention to the time difference there. And you're going to email me the paper. Book review is master students only. The master students will write a 5-page book review on the religious history of America by Gustave. That's 1-page introduction and about the authors, 2-page summary of the content, 2-page strengths and weaknesses, and your opinion of the book. The book review will, must have a title page, but you do not need a table of contents for a book review. But I do want a Turabian title page for your book review. The book review date is going to be December 5th by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Late work, plan ahead and stay on schedule. Anything that's late, which basically going to be any kind of assignment turned in, is going to get a 5-point deduction per day. And that includes weekends. So it's due on Friday. The paper is due on Friday. If for some reason you didn't get it done and you're like, well, then I have till Monday to get it in. No, well, the weekend counts. So make sure you get it on Saturday morning or something, because Saturday and Sunday are 5 points each day, which will be taken off of your paper, and that can add up pretty quick. The exams, you'll have 4 non-cumulative section exams. Exam 1 is September 7th, Exam 2 is September 28th, Exam 3 is November 2nd, and Exam 4 is December 6th at 10:30. Now, you're online students, so it's going to be, the exam will be open for a time period during the weeks that you have exams. So your final exam does not have to be taken at 10:30 because you will need to get with your proctor. So speaking of that, online students must have a exam proctor and must take the exams during the dates and times prescribed in Moodle. So there is a proctor form in Moodle. Make sure you print that out. Have your proctor fill it out with their name, their signature, and I do need their email. Have their email written on the bottom of the form or something. I do need their email address. Here's the grading scales. Because we have 2 degree programs in this class, we have the bachelor's degree on the left, which is 4 exams at 15% each, a research paper, and then the reading grade. You see the grading scale there for CH3001, which is the bachelor's level, and there's your grading scale, A+ all the way down to F. And then on the right-hand side is for master's degree program, CH6001. You're going to have 4 exams, 3 are at 10% and a final at 15%, which is 45% of the grade. You also have your research paper, the reading book review is 15%, and then the reading grade, and so that all adds up to 100%. And then you see your grading scale, which is A through F, and it is different for the bachelor's degree and the master's degree. So pay attention to that. That's all right from the catalog. Class attendance, again, online students right here, is 3 times a week that you need to log in. Witness 1.7 requirement, that's the graduate students only, CH6001 students. You need to make sure that you are doing the Witness 1.7 requirement, and you can see the catalog for more of that. So class conduct, one of the things about being an online student, you don't have a lot of interaction with each other, but if there's a forum or some sort of a thing going on online where you are interacting, number 3 here is a really good one. Students should exhibit a Christ-like attitude and demeanor at all times. That's always good. All right, class schedule and reading assignments. You have the class schedule by weeks, and then dates, and then session name. And then over here is the reading for the week. So I also have up here the section names. So here's the early church and patristics. And then we go down here, you see next would be medieval Christianity. Okay, so week 1 through 4 would be the early church and patristics. So week 1, we have Founders Days, and then 8, 16. Again, these dates are for the residential students. You're going to have the entire week to do this. But is the introduction and syllabus, which is basically this video. And then next time is session number 1, which is the early church. And you see there's no reading this week. It's basically because it's giving you time to be able to get the books if you don't have them yet. Week 2 is session 2, 3, and 4. You see the dates there on the left, the apostolic period, the early patristics and persecution, the schools and teachers. And then you see how the reading schedule is set up. So everyone needs to read Baker page 1 through 56. And then the masters also need to read Bettinson 1 through 29. And that's how it's pretty much set up for the rest of this schedule. Week 3, we talk about Constantine and monasticism in session 5. Session 6 is Donatism, Arianism, and the Council of Nicaea. Session 7, the Cappadocians and Ambrose. Week 4, session 8, we talk about Chrysostom and Jerome. And then session 9 is Augustine of Hippo. And then we have exam number 1. I will give a study guide for each exam. And as you see over here for this week, there's no reading at all. So if you need to catch up on reading, use that time. If you are caught up, you want to read ahead, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and read ahead. Next section is medieval Christianity. In week 5, session 10, we talk about the papacy, and you can see that the research paper topic is due. Then we have session 11 is Eastern Christianity, and then you see session 12 is Charlemagne and Decay. And the reading schedule is everyone just needs to read this section from Baker, and it's not even terribly long. Okay, pages 123 to 139. Week 6 is Against Islam and the Crusades. Then we have the Golden Age and Scholasticism, and then we have the Collapse and the Great Schism in week 6. Week 7, Pre-Reformation and Humanism, and then Colonial Christianity, and then exam number 2. Now that colonial Christianity is not like the 13 colonies of the United States. Colonial Christianity is when explorers start to find other lands and start taking those lands for their home country, such as Spain in the Americas. Then we see exam 2 there at the end of week 7. All right, the next section that we would talk about would be the Reformation, Puritanism, and Pietism. So we have week 8, session 18 is Martin Luther, 19 is Ulrich Zwingli, 20 is John Calvin, and that's where your research paper, thesis outline, and tentative sources are due that week. Then we go into fall break. No reading during fall break, but if you want to read ahead or catch up, use that time wisely, that's no problem. Go ahead and do that. Week 10, we see the Radical Reformation, the English Reformation, and the Counter-Reformation. Week 11, we see the 30 Years' War, Puritanism and Reformed Orthodoxy, and then Rationalism. And you can see the reading schedule starting to kind of pick up there, especially for the master's students. Week 12, we have Spiritualism and Pietism, and then the First Great Awakening, and then exam number 3. Then we move into our final section of the class, which is Modern Christianity. We would talk about the Second Great Awakening. We talk about Manifest Destiny all the way up to World War I. And then we will talk about new religions that pop up in the 19th century. Week 14 is session 32. We talk about Western European Christianity and Charles Spurgeon. We talk about Eastern Christianity, and then we talk about the missions movement of the 19th and 20th century. And then November 17th is when your research paper is due by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that takes us right into Thanksgiving break. We come back from Thanksgiving break. We have week 16 is session 35, which is Protestantism in the United States. And then our last teaching session is session 36, which is the Southern Baptist Convention deterioration and the conservative resurgence. And that's where the course is going to end, with Adrian Rogers leading the conservative resurgence of the Southern Baptist Convention. And then we have the 30th of November, a final exam review. And then week 17 is the final exam week. Notice December 5th, the master students book review is due by 11:59. And then for the in-class students, it's the final exam is at 10:30 a.m. on the 6th. Again, you'll have a window, a time period open for the exam to be able to take that with your proctor. All right, so that's the schedule. Next is selected bibliography. If you need help where to start, what should I look at, whatever it is, you can go ahead and look at some of these books. If you want, there's a whole list here. You can just read that on your own. There's books on maps, some reference books in regards to church history. And I broke it into two different things, to the 15th century and the 16th century to the present. More books that you can look at here for any kind of paper sources or anything like that. All right, so this is the rubric for the research paper, how we grade the research paper. We have the presentation of ideas, which is the content. So if it's written well, you're giving your ideas out there well, it's making sense, a good thesis, a good outline, all of that stuff. The presentation of ideas, you'll get a good score, but if it's like you can't even find a thesis statement, I don't know what you're talking about, you're jumping all over the place, that's not going to do too well for the presentation of ideas. Then we have organization and flow. Again, if it's very choppy, sounds very choppy, you're just jumping from one to the next, no real transitions from a paragraph to the next paragraph, that's not going to be too good. But if it flows well, you'll do fine. Style is the sentence structure, or is it a focus structure? Is it kind of rambling? Is the language appropriate? Or are you using like euphemisms or other, maybe even slang, very relaxed speech? This is academic writing, so you want to write, the style needs to be more academic. And so you don't want to use the slang in there, or like they really hit the nail on the head. You don't want to write that kind of stuff in academic writing. You want to make sure it's clear and concise and professional writing. MLA is for the bachelor students. Make sure you are citing it for MLA and it's the proper formats for that. Same thing with Turabian for the master students. Make sure that it's proper formatting in the paper itself, but all with the structure of how you have the headings and whatnot for Turabian. Also, your footnotes need to be formatted properly according to what kind of book it is, if it's a journal, all of that. Make sure that you have your paper formatted properly for citations. And then lastly, down here is the mechanics. Mechanics is a big one for students. This is where you have the spelling and punctuation and grammatical errors. Make sure you run it through Grammarly. Make sure the commas are in the right place, and quotation marks and punctuation at the end of a quotation mark and all of that stuff. Make sure you're all set with that. Okay, so this is the reading signature page. I have the students in class do this. They say, I read 90% of the reading. This is all honor system. Make sure you're accurate in what your percentage is. So if you read 90%, put 90. If you read 100, put 100, and that's what you'll get. You'll get a 100 for your grade if you say 100%. And then you don't need to print this out. All you have to do is send me an email saying I read 50% of the reading, or I read 90% of the reading. Make sure you just send me an email that says that at the end of the semester. It'll tell you in Moodle what to do. All right, and then this is the syllabus signature page. Again, this is for in class where they sign it and hand it to me. All I need you to do is send me an email that says I received the syllabus and I understand it, and just send me that email. But if you have a question, go ahead and ask me the question. Okay, so that is it for our syllabus. I'll see you in a second.
All right, class, that's it for today. Next time we'll begin with our first teaching session. But if you could send me an email at zsandiford@mabts.edu, and that's also in Moodle of my email address, and it's also on the top of the syllabus. If you can send me an email that says you received the syllabus and understand it, and of course if you have a question about the syllabus, go ahead and shoot that in the email too, and I'll answer the question for you. But just so I can have that record that you received the syllabus. Other than that, I don't have anything else for today. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.